Top of the morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 14 of the Top of the Morning Show, hosted by Juan Gotti. We're getting things started here, but let's go ahead and get to opening statements. So, I don't know how long this show is going to be, but we're going to talk about some stuff that we didn't get to talk about on Wednesday. And I'll be honest with you. The reason why I didn't have a Wednesday show is because my thought of doing this top of the morning show and or podcast, which we will get back to the 9 a.m. slate, but when I go live at 10, it's like a lot more people join. So we'll get it back to the 9 a.m. slate. But the reason why we didn't have a Wednesday show is strictly because I didn't know what to talk about. Like, my thought and my idea of doing this show was to have like an outline and to have things scripted to talk about. And I didn't have that on Wednesday. And I was kind of tired of free, I guess just talking off the dome. And it seems like and my videos only get attention, or this only gets attention if I have the Commanders in the title. That's why I always try to include the Commanders in the title, is because that seems like the only time that it gets people attention. And I'll be honest with you, man, as of late, the videos have not been performing as well as I've been wanting them to. That's why I always tend to try to ask you guys, what can I do to get you guys back engaged? Like, what can I do to get my views back up, to get people more interested? Is it the way I have to talk? Is it my quality? What is it that I have to do? Like, if people out there can honestly take a look at my channel and let me know, then they can help me out and we could probably get this thing moving. But right now, we've been stagnant. You know, we haven't really been progressing the way I wanted us to lately. And I'm all for getting better and changing that so we can, increase, because it's not just me. This is our stuff, okay? Without you guys, it's nothing. So I need you guys. So you are really the force behind all of this. So I need your input. But that's how I've been feeling lately, and that's honest, and I'm never going to stop doing this. It doesn't matter whatever I do in my life. I'm going to always do this because I love the NFL. I love this team. I love the Commanders. I love sports, right? So I'm never going to stop doing this. However, I always want to grow. Like, I don't want to be at 4,000 for the rest of my life. I want to eventually hit 10, 20, 30, 40. I want to do all of that. So we're going to hopefully get some feedback from you guys. And hopefully that can increase the views. So let's go ahead and get to opening statements now. It is currently December 9th, 10:42 a.m. And it's a solid day outside in the DMV area. It's not really too cold. But the first thing I want to talk about, and I know we were going, Thursday night rewind happens here, but first thing I want to talk about is the Deion Sanders situation. Now, I didn't get to speak on it on Wednesday because I guess that could have been the only thing I could have talked about. But now we're here, I can talk about it. So if you guys don't know, Deion Sanders has officially accepted an offer at Colorado to become the new head coach, and it's been getting a lot of mixed feedback from a lot of people. As we all know, he turned around the Jackson State program. The HBCU put way more spotlight on not just that HBCU, but HBCUs across America, and got a lot of 5-star, 4-star recruits, to come join Jackson State. And he did a great job turning that culture around. Okay. But I can't say that I'm surprised that he did this. Because in life, it's all about leveling up. Okay. Do you really think Deion Sanders was going to just be a HBCU football coach for the rest of his life? No. If we go back to Deion Sanders, he was a player. I don't really recall him doing any commentating thing, but he was an analyst on NFL Network at the time, like a couple years ago. Then he got into coaching. And Jackson State was a good start for him, but there's no way we thought he was just going to stop at Jackson State. And that's why I understand where people are coming from, where it's just like, wow, you're going to leave Jackson State out to dry and whatnot, and stuff like that. But it's like you're at a job, right? You're at a job, you're working your job, and you feel like you're doing a good job at it, and you feel like you want a raise, or you feel like you want a better opportunity to now level up. And that opportunity comes knocking. You're not going to turn it down just because of the loyalty you have at this company, that you're with, or how good it is there, and how much they need you, right? You're not going to turn that down because you look at a better opportunity as more money, more opportunities to proceed and promote myself and get better and get a better opportunity for me and my family, right? And that's all Deion Sanders was doing. So I'm not mad. And honestly, now thinking about it, I feel like this was more so a move for his kids. Obviously, Deion Sanders is gonna be the highlight of it all. He's gonna be the one receiving the most benefit from it. But I think honestly, it's his kids, and it's the quarterback, the one that's getting the most, that's gonna get the most benefit from this, really, or the most. This is the reason why Deion Sanders did it. What is his quarterback's name? I think the quarterback name is let's see. Is it I think Shiloh is the safety. Let's see. What is his kid's name? What is the quarterback's name? Shedeur Sanders. That's the quarterback. That's the quarterback. And that's the one that I think he did it for. I think he did it to get his kids some more exposure. And he realized that he wasn't going to get that with beating up on HBCUs, right? Like, you obviously go to Jackson State, and Deion Sanders has turned it into a powerhouse. So, obviously, they're not going to get the exposure that they would get at a big school because you're playing teams like Alabama A&M, Southern U, Texas Southern, and all of those teams, and Florida A&M. Like, you're not going to get the exposure that you would get at a big school like Colorado. And I know Colorado is terrible. Trust me, I understand that. But it's still a way bigger school than Jackson State. So I think he did it more so for his kids. Good opportunity for him, though. Like, I'm not mad at him. Like I said, I understand the people that are frustrated with this move because they're like, you built this program up, you were supposed to take it to the top, which he did in his team. But I also understand fully why he did it. He wants to become a coach. He wants to eventually a bigger coach. He wants to eventually possibly coach at the collegiate level, like the bigger collegiate level. Like Colorado or Jackson State was a good college start. Colorado's his second stint. And I'll see, like, in 3-4 years, he probably wants to go coach at his alma mater in Florida State. Like, he wants that opportunity. Or, who's to say? Maybe he wants to coach the pros one day. Like, I think it's all about leveling up. I think this is a good opportunity for him. I'm happy for Deion Sanders, and he's deserving of it. Now, as far as guys like Travis Hunter, his son, and countless others, they're going with him. Like, you're about to see so many players enter the transfer portal, it's going to be crazy. Like, Colorado, half of the people at Colorado aren't going to have a job. Like, he literally already said in the press conference, and here's your quarterback, Shedeur Sanders. Right? So he's going to bring all the Travis Hunter. At least I believe so. Travis Hunter could definitely be like, hey, I'm going to just go my own route, blah, 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 and go somewhere else. I definitely think he's going to go to Colorado. They're in the Pac-12 with USC and Washington and Oregon State, all of them. It's definitely going to be interesting. But that's my take on the whole Deion Sanders situation. What says you out there? Now let's go to Thursday Night Rewind, okay? Yesterday's game, it was cool to watch because this is exactly why you can't start believing in the Raiders. Because yesterday watching that game, it was 16-3. And I'm sitting here pulling up the AFC playoff picture, okay, to possibly see, hey man, these Raiders, they're heating up. Shoot, I'm starting to think of scenarios where they could win out and finish the season 11 and 11 or 10-7. I'm like, and these Raiders, bro, they probably could make the playoffs after the crazy start that they had to the season. And they do the most Raiders thing. Now, granted, it was a lot of penalties aided on that last drive, but still, man. Still, you cannot do that. Like, you cannot be in a position to do that. Like, they started on the 1, and if I'm remembering correctly, they had no timeouts. And Baker Mayfield comes in, literally traded 2 to 3 days prior. Had 2 to 3 days to learn the playbook, and he leads them to a victory. Leads them to a victory. If I'm the Raiders, because the Rams, I feel like this is empty calories. Yes, it's a good story that they finally won the game, but I don't see them going anywhere. The Raiders, this is another case in point to where it's just like, man, what is going on over there? Like, what is going on? They got too much talent to be in the predicament that they're in. They got too much talent to be in the predicament that they're in. And you got to look at the top. Like, you got to start from the owner, Al Davis, down to Josh McDaniels. Because, yes, they've been banged up. But when you look at Derek Carr, Devontae Adams was obviously one of the, if not the best receiver in football. Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, like, that team is offensively good enough to win. Josh Jacobs, who's having a phenomenal year, who's going to get paid. This team shouldn't be 5-4, 5-8. Okay, but it's countless mistakes that, to me, is clear reflection of their coach. Like, you give the Raiders Brian Dable, this team is not 5-8. Because you see how the Giants were winning games. not because of talent, but because of execution and coaching. And where does the execution stem from? It stems from the coaches. And Josh McDaniels is not a good coach. I mean, I don't know why they thought it was a good opportunity, because, correct me if I'm wrong, again, didn't he have a terrible stint in Denver, his first opportunity to be a head coach? Like, didn't he go, like, was it not good, like, the first time he was a head coach? They're it's hard to talk about them, because it's like, you can't say they're a mess because they're not terrible. It's just their coaching. And Al Davis has already came out and said that that's their guy. They're going to roll with Josh McDaniels. Okay. And that's going to be that. And if I'm looking at it from a Raiders fan standpoint, I'm pissed, because as long as he's there, I think he's going to be the reason that they get held back. I think he's the reason why they're going to get held back. They're not going to be able to reach the potential that they can really reach because of him. But good win for the Rams, I guess. I mean, again, to me, it really doesn't mean anything because their season is pretty much done. What does this mean for Baker Mayfield? I don't know. I think he's probably going to be a backup on the Rams next year, because I don't think no other team trusts him to be their starting quarterback anymore. I think this last opportunity to be the true like, it's a difference from winning the starting battle in training camp and then being the clear-cut starter. I think that opportunity died out when he was when he got his chance with the Panthers. After he got the opportunity with the Panthers and it didn't go good, I think that was his last opportunity to be the clear starter. I think he's obviously still a quality backup. He's a quality quarterback. So he's a guy that can come in and obviously, win some games if it's need be. But as far as Baker Mayfield being the guy, I don't know if I believe in that. I'm not gonna lie. Now, let's transition into the Washington Commanders talk, right? And the reason why I'm sighing when I say that, is, and shout out to Talking Hogs, Tyler McCracken. Thank you so much. He just sent me a donation. Thank you so much. I just saw it. Thank you. I really do appreciate it, man. Thank you. Shout out to Talking Hogs Podcast. Go ahead and check him out. Thank you. Appreciate it. Go ahead and check him out. Subscribe and check out the show. We did a little something over there a while back. So please go check out his show. It's really good. Thank you again so much, man. I appreciate it. All right. So back to the show. We got to talk about the obvious Commander stuff, and we can just never catch a break. Like, we're in a bye week right now, and I was just about to talk about how good Sunday was going to be because no stress. I could just finally relax because we're not playing. Now, come next week, starting Tuesday of next week, I'm going to be nervous the whole time because this is the biggest game of our season. But I don't have to worry about that right now because I can just enjoy the Sunday and watch football. They said no. Like, the fellas are on a bye week, probably out traveling on vacation, doing something good, chilling, relaxing, recovering, not living their best life. We're trying to live their best life on this bye week, and we get hit with this. So, if you don't know, before we talk about the Dan Snyder stuff, like as far as the Congress and all that, let's talk about what Bruce Allen had to say. And he said, I'm going to be at the game. Man, I want to go so bad, bro. I really do. I really want to go to the game because I know that it's going to be crazy, man. But your boy want to go badly. Before we talk about that, let's talk about what Bruce Allen said. Bruce Allen said this, okay? So he said this about left tackle Trent Williams, right? As we know, Trent Williams, the whole debacle with him, leaving the Washington's franchise with the whole cancer and the stuff like that, and the scar on his head, and he can't put the helmet on. Remember all of that, right? So Bruce Allen said this. He said the relationship with Trent Williams was good. We wanted to offer him a contract extension, but Dan said no. Dan said no, not a dime. Find him the max, and that's exactly what we did. So Dan Snyder says find him the max, and that's exactly what we did. And that makes sense because you guys remember. Y'all remember, right? Y'all remember when they were talking about finding him, and they did that because he was holding out. He didn't want to play. This is what he was talking about. And it goes without saying that Dan Snyder is such a terrible person. He's a horrible human, and I'm not sitting here acting like Bruce Allen is just that good of a guy. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and act like that. No, I'm not gonna do that. But the fact that you could be so petty and you can run out a franchise left tackle, one of the best left tackles in all of football, an opportunity to have a Commanders player finish out his career here, retire as a Commander or football or Washington franchise player, right? You just run him out of town. Dan Snyder is a piece of crap, bro. He's terrible. It's crazy. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the other reports, right? So the other reports is talking about yesterday, Dan Snyder and how reports were coming out. More reports about Dan Snyder. What's new? More reports, right? I'm just trying to go ahead and pull it up here before I start talking about it. I should have had it already in front of me. But more reports about Dan Snyder. And it basically goes like this. It's saying this. Daniel Snyder is just basically being talked about with the toxic work culture. Let's see if I can pull it up. The U.S. House Committee reports that Dan Snyder participated in a toxic work culture. They're basically just recycling the whole thing, but what we're finding out now is that the NFL was working with Dan Snyder to cover up the story. And this is basically just another stint of the NFL people, the Congress or whatever, trying to get rid of Dan Snyder. And This is not new news. We've been known this. We've been known that the NFL was trying to cover up, because if you guys don't realize this, right? Roger Goodell is the commissioner, right? But the commissioner is really just a puppet for the owners. Like, the commissioner, let's see if I can look this up here. The commissioner is basically like the NFL's worker. Like he's just the face for the owners. Okay, so Roger Goodell is going to do whatever in the best interest of the owner, unless it is directly affecting 31 other owners. This is crazy, because it's like, we've been known this, but it's just sad that it continues to happen. So again, I just looked it up here, but even though we already know this, the commissioner is the public-facing figurehead, some might say a corporate skill or scowl for the owners. He is, after all, paid by the owners to the tune of $2 million per year off each franchise in the league. It falls under his to moderate disputes and enforce punishment, and for this he is regulated as regularly booed in public. So again, he is the guy he's the owner's puppet. So he's gonna do whatever it takes to protect the owners, because he's the one that, well, they're the people that feed him, practically. He's the one that feeds him. They're the one that feed him. So obviously, he's going to do whatever in the best interest of the owner. And in the Washington Commanders case, the best interest of the owner was to cover it up and hide the stories. And this is what he did. And now it's starting to come out. And now that Dan Snyder is starting to get more feedback, or not feedback, but backlash from other owners, it's now pushing more and more stuff to come to the front table. And at the end of the day, I just want this to be done. I just want him to sell, and I really hope he does. But I'm done talking about it, really, because we talk about it so much, and nothing's ever happening right now. Again, this is the most it's ever been feeling like it's going to happen, but it is what it is. Now, let's get to NFL game picks for this weekend. Week 15 or 14, rather. What did I put inside? I put 14. Week 14 game picks. 4 more games left, whatever. It's coming down to the end of the wire, y'all. First game we got Vikings, Lions. It's going to be a good game. The Lions are coming off another good performance, man. These Lions, bro, I tell you, man, they are going to be really, really fun to watch next year. Like, they're going to be really, really fun to watch next year, because I think next year they can become an actual contender. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games left, not counting that they played this yet. Imagine the Lions finished like 8-9 or 9-8 or something like that. You know what? Given the fact that the Vikings are 10-2, 10-3, I'm going to go Lions. I'm going to say the Lions upset the Vikings, because they are playing really good ball right now. They are. So, I'm going to pick the Lions to upset the Vikings. So, they're 10-2. So, let's go ahead and go to the next game. Baltimore Steelers. AFC North Showdown. Remember a couple years ago when this game was like a marquee Sunday Night Football? The Big Ben, Joe Flacco, Ray Lewis. Oh, man. Those days. Troy Polamalu. Ah, man. Ryan Clark, all those guys. What's my guy's name? Obviously, you got James Harrison. What's my guy's name though? I forgot his name. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But those days was great. But now this game is gonna be trash. It's gonna be trash. It's gonna be like a 16-20 victory. Tyler Huntley's playing. To Lamar Jackson, as we know, got hurt. He's gonna be out for probably 1 to 3 weeks with an MCL sprain. It's gonna be a low scoring game, man. I unfortunately feel, and shout out to my man in Graven, I unfortunately have this bad feeling for the Ravens that last year is repeating all over again. Like, you remember last year, the Ravens were good, and Lamar Jackson got hurt and their season derailed. Now, again, it may not be as severe as it was last year. He may not be out as long as he was last year, but he's missing it for sure. At least 2 of the last final 5. And when you're trying to fight for a division with the Bengals and possibly getting a wild card, you can't have that right now. I mean, I know you can't control the injuries and whatnot, but I have a bad feeling that the Ravens season is heading in the same trajectory that it was heading last year. But that's just me, though. So with that being said, I'm going to pick the Steelers to win this game. The Steelers, they are looking better. They're looking better. Kenny Pickett's looking more comfortable, and they have a promising future. Next game, you got Browns, Bengals. I got the Bengals whipping the Browns. If Deshaun Watson looks anywhere close to what he did last week, they're gonna lose, and I have no doubt in my mind that that's the case. I have no doubt in my mind that that's the case, that he's gonna look exactly how he looked last week versus the Texans, and Bengals are gonna win. Next game, you got Jets, Bills. I think the Bills are going to win this game. I think the Jets are starting to come back to life a little bit. They're 7-5. I think they're starting to come back to life. I think they're going to lose this game versus the Bills, or versus the Jets, or versus the Bills, sorry. And even though they came back, they tried to come back, almost came back versus the Vikings. I think they're coming back to life. So give me the Bills. Next game, you got Texans, Cowboys. Give me the Cowboys. Texans are just going to get steamrolled, bro. They're trash. Next game, you got probably the biggest game of Week 14. And that is the Eagles and Giants. Now, the reason why I say this is the biggest game of Week 14 is because, obviously, the Eagles, I believe, they are playing for – can they clinch a playoff berth, or have they already clinched a playoff berth? I think they already may have done that. But – nevertheless, it's a big game for both teams, because if the Eagles win, they're 12-1, and not saying that it's over, but it's pretty much, the division is pretty much wrapped up, right? But if they lose and the Giants go to 8-4-1 and the Cowboys beat the Texans, they go to 10-3. The Eagles go to 11-2. Do y'all realize how massive that Cowboys and Eagles game will be on when is it? Is it Christmas Eve? Let's take a look. Because then you put in a position to where the Eagles and Cowboys, or the Cowboys are 1 game behind the Eagles. So let's take a look here. They got the Cowboys. The Cowboys got the Cowboys on Christmas Eve, and assuming that the Cowboys are going to beat the Texans, the Eagles are going to, let's say the Eagles lose to the Giants. And then they beat the Bears. That's 11, and that's 12-2, or 12-2. And then the Cowboys gonna be 11-3 at that time, because I believe they're then gonna play who they play, the Texans, right? Let's see who the Cowboys play after the Texans. I think it's Tennessee, right? I think it's Tennessee. Although they play Jacksonville, which isn't a walk in the park, but assuming that they beat them, that Christmas Eve game is going to be massive. But if we go based off of what we think is going to happen, what I think is genuinely going to happen, that is going to be that the Eagles are going to win this game. The Eagles are going to win this game. The Giants are going to go to 7-5-1, and that makes that Washington Commanders game on next Sunday Night Football even more massive. Even more massive. Now, let me go to the next game. Next game, you got Jaguars, Titans. Give me the Titans. Even though I shouldn't be so foregoing because they really don't have nothing besides Derrick Henry. And Jaguars, even though they're coming off of a beatdown from the Lions, they're not the worst. But give me the Titans. Chiefs, Broncos. Give me the Chiefs. Panthers, Seahawks. This is another game that we have to watch closely too, Washington fans. We'll be rooting for the Panthers, but I'm going to go Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are going to win, but I would not be surprised if the Panthers win that one. Bucks, 49ers. 49ers coming off of a massive win. The Bucks coming off of a comeback. Give me the Bucks. I'm gonna take the Bucks. Dolphins, Chargers. Give me the Chargers. I got the Chargers winning that game on Sunday Night Football. And then on Monday Night Football, you got the Patriots and Cardinals. It feels like we've seen these teams play. Oh, I don't know. It feels like we've seen them play already. But give me the Patriots. So that's my NFL Week 14 picks. And I think that's what I want to call it a day because it's not really much to talk about else. And I'll see you guys later for my video. Shout out to Talking Hawks Podcast. Shout out to DeAndre Taylor. Shout out to Kevin of PRF. Shout out to Jet Jones. Shout out to Brian Harden. Shout out to Big Simple. And shout out to Alante. Hopefully you get better, my man. I saw that you said you got hit by a car. Hopefully you're okay, bro, and you're having a fast recovery. Live Wire Sports, shout out to you. And Justo428, shout out to you. Joshua, shout out to you. Donnell Jenkins, shout out to you. And I appreciate you all for being here, rocking with your boy, listening to Top of the Morning Show, episode 14. See you guys Monday morning for episode 15. As always, it's your boy Juan Gotti. Peace.